Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to episode number 278 of Geek Smack, the 6th anniversary episode where I am going to talk about Twitter and IPOs. IPOs, as they say. Are we a hungry IPO? IPO? Anyway, welcome to the live show, the pre-stream, the, what do you want to call it? Whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it a live version of the show, if you want to call it a, how do I do this? The vlog. There's my sign language for vlog. That's, you want to do the vlog, that's fine with me. Call it whatever you want. I call it a professionally created show. Actually, not that professionally created because I'm not a professional, nor do I play a professional on TV. Although I'd like to play a professional on TV. If you've got a role of me playing a professional on TV, just let me know. Drop me a line over at geekazine@gmail.com. Of course, Geekazine is my Twitter handle. Just think magazine, put in a geek, you've got, boom, Geekazine. Just like that. So Geekazine's where you go for all the cool stuff, all the cool toys, and all the cool articles that I do. And of course, I have other websites, Day in Tech History, howtorecordpodcast.com, thisweekingoogleglass.com, list goes on and on, iPad-365.com. Yeah, I do have a lot of websites, but I have a lot of different shows. And of course, it's going to all culminate to Geekazine, and I'm going to be putting in a new little interface in the front page. I can't wait for that to happen, where you'll be able to get all the content right there at the interface. And that's the important thing, is to get it right on Geekazine, so you don't need to go to website A or website B or website C. It'll just be there, and then you can go from there. All right, hey, welcome to the vlog. If this is the first time you've come to the live show, thank you very much for doing this. I do this every single Tuesday for a Wednesday consumption. And of course, live is Tuesday for Tuesday consumption. So I really appreciate that. The pre-show is brought to you by our friends over at juststand.org. Of course, they gave me the sit-stand desk. This is the adjustable desk right here. In fact, I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm going to show you my new camera shot, and then I'm going to show you how this desk works. So here's the camera shot. There's actually a webcam right behind me. And of course, I have my adjustable sit-stand desk, which if I pull this lever and pull it up and pull it down, I can actually stand or sit or whatnot. And then, of course, with the with that adjustability, I can do many different things. I find myself podcasting. The best way to podcast for me is to sit and kind of get, because I'm using all my upper body strength to do all this. And as you can see, I've got the articles on this computer. I've got Wirecast running on this computer, and I've got my iPad, so it looks like I have a lot of screens. I've got another screen right here. In fact, you don't normally see this, but you see it on iPad 365. I move it over like this, so you see this screen right there. It's not in position, so but I move it out of the way so you don't see it. And then, of course, you can kind of see the Ergotron stuff here. It's all by Ergotron. And, of course, they have a website called juststand.org. I'm going to go to it right now because, very important about your health and stuff like that. And I'm a big proponent on being healthy. So go over to juststand.org. Learn about how standing a couple hours a day actually helps your metabolism, helps your blood sugar. Sitting increases your blood pressure. And 2 hours of standing, if you've got high blood pressure, stand for a couple hours. And then, of course, they've got some great products, including this desk, including some TV mounts and stuff like that. I appreciate that. And they got a lot of great stuff. So anyway, that's over at juststand.org. That is a free, I don't get paid for that endorsement. I just think that you need to be healthy when you do your stuff. And I'm a big fan of Ergotron's products. In fact, I'll be showing them off a little bit more as we go. So anyway, welcome to the 6th anniversary of Geek Smack. Back in 2007, the show came out, and it was just called just that, The Show. I didn't have any idea. The Geekazine didn't exist until November 7th of 2007. There was no Geekazine at that time. I just knew I was going to do a show. And I called it The Show, and I just, some simple articles, some simple information, and I put it out there, and everything was great, and I was happy. So 6 years ago, 2007, I started the show, And, of course, that turned into the Geekazine Weekly Podcast, which was audio first, and then I tried to do streaming. I did it up on Ustream, and then I decided that I wanted to move it off of Ustream because I wanted the copies of it. And then I moved it on to YouTube, and I moved it up into blip.tv, where we do a lot of the shows. And Geek Smack found over at blip.tv. You can go over to blip.tv/Geekazine, I believe, or TVazine. TVazine, just think magazine, put in a TV, you got TVazine. That'll take you straight to my Blip TV page. In fact, I'll do that right now. And then you can check it all out there. We're pulling it up really quick. So anyway, that's TVazine, and it's my Blip channel. Of course, you can get all my video content. You can subscribe here too. There's many different places you can subscribe. Of course, we've got the last week's episode, why Apple and Google bested Coca-Cola as a global leader. And then, of course, old show. This is probably one of my top-rated shows over there on Blip, and that is the OTT, over-the-top television, was a show I was going to do a couple years ago, talking about Roku and Apple TV and all that other stuff. And that's one of my top episodes because there's a hidden channel, way to get extra channels on the Roku, and people love it. And, of course, all the shows and the Geekazine special media feed also goes over there, and that's over at tvazine.com or blip.tv/Geekazine, I think it is. So, hey, it's the 6th anniversary, so been doing a whole ton of stuff in these last 6 years. I've changed the format up several times. I mean, I do that every 6 to 8 weeks anyway. In fact, the new format is got some cool stuff on it. Like, for instance, now I'll show you the front page. Of course, this is a little bit inflated because this is what I use to actually read and see. Geek Smack episode, as you can see, I've actually got a plugin that posts stock prices. So now you'll see some of the stock prices onto the Geekazine page, onto each post, and I've added that. Of course, Geekedia, and got that there, and everything else, new stuff over at Geekazine as we go. Really exciting stuff. So 6 years later, Geekazine is strong. And lots of content, lots of podcasts, of course, the CES content, which is coming up very soon, and so much more. I'm really excited in the direction that Geekazine has gone in these last 6 years. And then, of course, being a YouTube partner, going up on youtube.com/Geekazine and subscribing there. Let's go over there really quick. So that's youtube.com/Geekazine. And, of course, you'll see I just made a new intro over at youtube.com/Geekazine. And I think it's pretty cool. Updated that. I've got to update the picture because, of course, the beard has changed a little bit, just a little bit. And, whoops, let's try that. There's Geekazine. Of course, let me make it a little bit smaller here so you can see it a little bit better. But there's Geekazine, brand new intro video right there, right here. Where I talk about Geek Smack, iPad 365 this week in Google Glass, and then the special event feed. And that's all over at the YouTube page over at Geekazine. And you can check that out over there. All right, everything. What else is happening? As you can see, I don't have a pair of Google Glass on. That's because the 4th pair went back this morning. And basically the camera died. I won't get too much into it because over at This Week in Google Glass, myself and Luke Luca on Twitter, we talked about in excess about my process, why I'm having such a problem, and my thoughts on it, and they're pretty positive if you think about it. There's only one area that I have a real big problem with. So got a hair right there that's kind of, there we go. Mustache. I got to actually start to trim my beard now because, mustache hairs get in your lips and then they just kind of poke there and it hurts. So anyway, so check it out over at twig.tv. That's TWIGG.tv, twig.tv, and you'll get all that content there. Empire Avenue, you guys are awesome. I mean, this is cool. I mean, look at this. I am over on Empire Avenue, and my stock is at 113.29 EVs per share. And you guys have just been eating that up. So thank you very much. Got 339 shareholders. I've got a portfolio of 16. I'm still looking at who I should invest in. A lot of people say like, "Oh, here I invested 1,500 EVs into you, and here's my book where you can find out how you can do more." And it's like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. So, but that's over at empireavenue.com. Of course, you can check that out. Look for Geekazine. And I also created a community, and the community is for podcasters. So if you're a podcaster, go into the community. I'm going to do that right now. And here's my podcast. There's 2 members. There's actually another member to this group. Pretty sweet. So it looks like Brian Goodwin is now a member of the community, podcasters community. Of course, I have the podcasters community over on Google+. That's over at plus.google.com. You can check that out. Let's do that really quick. So you go over to plus.google.com, and that brings that up. We got some articles. You go over here, and you go into the communities, and you select that. And inside the communities, you'll have all the communities I'm on and moderating on, and I like. But one of them, this is the one I do. That's podcasters. And there it is right there. It's loading up. And basically, you could, if you're a podcaster, come in and talk. As you can see, we've got 2,700 members. It's the largest podcaster community out there, and I try and keep this very, very comment oriented. I used to do forums all the time, so you just kind of weed out the people that don't talk, and you kind of remove those posts that are spammy, and you give them a community where people talk together. And all of a sudden, they're there and they're talking, and everything's good, and you have a thriving community. It's just simple as that. So if you create a community, go into that community every day, reply to comments, put out new comments, put out topics of the day. That's what I do, and that's my suggestion to you if you do that. Hey, the next thing is CES. CES is coming up very, very quick. We've got a crowdfund that I'm working on. And the best part is I've got a couple people that are helping me with this to give us great backer levels. Now, the $10 level, you get like a link on the website saying thanks a lot for helping us out. $25, we're going to actually make a t-shirt, TPN at CES t-shirt, and you're going to get one of those t-shirts. And then the $40 level, this is right now the backer levels we have. $40 level is actually 2 t-shirts, one for you, one for your spouse or a friend or whatever. Then we get up to the $50 level, and then there's a $100 level, and then we get to the $100 to $500 level. We're actually going to have some really cool stuff that you can get for being a backer on there. So if you're looking for something for your home theater or something like that, this is what I'm talking about. So if you're interested, check it all out. It is over at, it's not out yet, actually. Working on it, and hopefully by next week, if I've got everything in line, I'm hoping to do it by Thursday. I won't put out a crowdfund on Friday, but if it's either going to be Thursday or Monday, those are the 2 days that we're going to start the crowdfund. And then, of course, it'll go for 60 days, and we're going to set it up so, even if for some reason we don't reach the goal, which I think we're going to reach in pretty well, but if for some reason we don't reach our goal, then we'll still get the money. So, and I think we're going to go use Fund Anything, but that hasn't been totally solidified just yet. So that's going to be there. I'm really happy about that. So, but we are planning hot and heavy CES 2014 action. You can check it out. Of course, tpn.tv will have all that information there. Another thing is I've been playing with this website called Street Jelly. Now, Street Jelly is a website that you go to, And no, I don't want that. There we go. And you can play, and it's a live stream right now. There's a guy named Maestro who's live streaming. I can't play the live stream because chances are he might be playing an actual cover song, and of course then we've got copyright issue. But as you can see, there's many different people that get on and talk and sing and stuff like that. Here I am right here. I'm not performing just yet, but I have been getting on Street Jelly and kind of having fun. They throw tokens your way, so you can you get a little bit of cash for playing like a street musician or something like that. But it's great for me because I'm getting back into my acoustic sets, and I'm gonna set up some gigs during the winter so I can make some money, because I'm gonna need to cover my airfare and my hotel for CES plus some other bills that need to be paid. So I'm going to be doing some acoustic stuff around Madison, Wisconsin. And this is a great way to practice and then get a couple extra dollars doing it. So I'm really happy about this. And of course, I'm building up the calluses on my fingers. And that's the weirdest thing is when the calluses disappear, you don't feel it. But when they start showing up again, you can kind of feel it. It's like, not numbing, but you touch and it's like it doesn't feel as sensitive as it did before. So anyway, I know that it's interesting, but as a musician, I've been playing music all my life. Of course, I'm a drummer by trade, but you give me an instrument in 2 weeks, and I'll have something down for you to play. I mean, I could pick up this harmonica back here and play it, and I did that on This Week in Google Glass. And then the most interesting instrument I have is right here. This is called a Chihuahua whistle, and back when Dean Kamen, back at South by Southwest, Dean Kamen and a couple other inventors, and the inventor of this whistle was at South by Southwest, and he actually had an instrument and showed it off. So here's how that goes. So it's not much of an instrument. It's just kind of a whistle for Chihuahuas, I suppose. And I'm going to put that back. But I got instruments. I got a vuvuzela over there. I've got clarinet over here, guitar, flute, of course, drums in the basement, and so on. So, but doing the acoustic stuff, and hopefully that'll bring some cash in, so I can go to CES and kind of have some fun and get some extra cash. But of course, that crowdfund will also help with that. All right, well that does it for the vlog section. I'm working on this. The vlog. There we go. Vlog section of the show. And then, of course, we're going to get into the actual show. What's going to happen is you're going to see this logo. And, of course, it's going to be there for about a minute or so. So don't run away. I'll be back in. We'll do the show straight up. You'll see the TPN coin. You'll see me talk. And then we'll go straight into the show. So get your hats ready, get your stuff ready. I'll give you the overhead shot one more time. And I got everything ready here. So it's time to actually do Geek Smack episode number 278. Today we're talking about Twitter and their IPO. Some other articles we're talking about HTC actually putting out a gold phone. It's time to buy Apple stock. AT&T Philip or something like that. And Nokia Finland Pond, and a whole bunch more. And that is this episode, number 278 of Geek Smack. Stick around. We're going to do this in a second here, and we will be right back. This is Geek Smack, episode number 278. It's the sixth anniversary episode. Let's do that again. And the best part is I can make that mistake and start over, so we're going to do that again.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to episode number 278 of Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like Twitter's going to smack an IPO out of you. Yes, they're looking for an IPO, and there's some people that are saying, why are they going for an IPO? Are they worth an IPO? Are they going to tank like Facebook did? Are they going to do something? We're going to talk about why Twitter might be a good IPO. We're also going to talk about Nest coming up with smoke alarms. We're going to talk about AT&T Flip, or whatever you want to call it. Nokia pawned in an interesting way. And then, of course, Android more secure than iPhone. That's what Eric Schmidt says. And then the new $100 bills. We've got that all on Geek Smack for this week. This week, we're brought to you by our friends over at Wirecast, which, of course, are doing all this switching out and pushing the live stream to youtube.com/Geekazine. And then, of course, Day in Tech History and GoDaddy and JustStand.org did the pre-show. So let's get everything going. This is your Geek Smack for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, once again, welcome to Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. You can find me at Geekazine over at www.geekazine.com. Think magazine, put in a geek, boom, you got Geekazine. Geekazine is my Twitter handle over at Geekazine. And of course, geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. You can also call me on that hotline of 608-205-4378. That hotline is there. It'll be there as long as I have a Google Voice account for that. And feel free to call and say what you think about the show. And if you want to be on the show, or if you want to do the show yourself, or whatnot. So let me know all that good stuff. Hey, I added, here's what you missed on the vlog, and I'll go over it really quick. First of all, it's the 6th anniversary of Geek Smack. 6 years ago, I started this show as the show. It switched over to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast, and then, of course, went to Geek Smack about June of 2011. So 6 years later, we still got Geek Smack, and of course, doing a whole bunch more. I've got the Wirecast in front of me. I've got this video camera. Of course, the Sony that's pushing it out pretty nice. I got the sound doing pretty good, and then of course the new camera shot. Check this out. This is the new camera shot. How y'all doing? Of course, it's just a regular webcam, so it looks a little bit blurry, not the greatest of quality. I've got my Wirecast here. I've got my presentation where you see all the websites, and then I've got my iPad, which is right here. It's got the new iOS 7, so it's got the fun little dots and stuff like that, where I can show you lots of cool stuff. And that is over. That's the new cam, the new webcam. We'll see how that works and go from there. But of course, if you missed the vlog, really quick, 6th anniversary of the show. Twig, you noticing I don't have Google Glass on. That's because Google Glass went back today. My 4th pair has gone back. The camera stopped working. I talk about it on the live show, and then of course I talk about it over on twig.tv. This week in Google Glass, we had an episode last night. Myself and Luke Wallace talked about everything. It was pretty cool. Empire Avenue account is at about $113 or EVES a share. So thank you very much for investing in me over at Empire Avenue. Plus, it's been actually boosting my websites, and I'm really happy about that. So we're doing the crowdfund at CES. It should be it's either going to be on Thursday that the crowdfund gets posted, or the following Monday. And I've got some great news. We got 2 companies that are helping us out with the crowdfund. $10 is just the basic level. It gets a link on tpn.tv, but $25 you'll get a TPN at CES t-shirt, and that's cool. And then after that, we're going to have some really cool levels to help you out there. So I'm thanking all those sponsors there for doing that. Street Jelly. I've been doing some music. I'm actually ramping up my acoustic stuff. I kind of took some time off on that, so I'm going to start playing acoustically. StreetJelly.com is a great way to actually hear me play my acoustic music, and let me show you to you really quick. It's over at StreetJelly.com, and Doug Jackson was the one that turned it on for me. There's a couple people on air right now. I can't show any of it because they might be playing cover tunes, and if that's the case, then I can't show that to you. But as you can see, I'm right here, Jeffrey Powers, and you can catch me there. I'm gonna try and be on for a couple hours today, once I have everything uploaded, and maybe a few hours just to kind of get my chops going. So if you want to check that out, you can go over to streetjelly.com. I'm going to have the link in the show notes. All you have to do is go over to geekazine.com, go to the show notes, and you'll see the links, and that's where you'll go to find out where everything is. And of course, if you're brand new to the show, please subscribe over on iTunes, subscribe over on Stitcher, subscribe over on wherever you want to go to. Stitcher is a great app, especially if you have a mobile device. All you have to do is just load it up. Here, I have Stitcher loaded up right here. You can see it on my iPad right here. And of course, I've got my stations and my favorites playlist, and of course some of my shows are on here as well, so you can check that over on Stitcher. And then that's pretty much it. I know I went a little bit long on the pre-star stuff, so let's get into your tech smack for this week. All right, we're going to start over at cnet.com. Nest has come out with a new product, a smoke detector. It's actually pretty cool. It's called the Nest, of course, the Nest Smoke Detector. And it is, let me pull it up here on the side here. It looks like a wireless hotspot, or, like a wireless dongle or something like that. But it actually is a smoke detector. It's also, I believe, a carbon detector as well. So and it could tell you, and it'll actually push stuff to your mobile device. And he said he's doing it because smoke detectors haven't had much of technology change to them, except better detection of smoke and better detection of carbon monoxide, which is great. But a lot of people have been asking, why do you want to get into this area? Well, it kind of makes sense for Nest. They start with a thermostat, they go to a smoke detector, they go to other things inside the home, and then you have a fully Nest home. And I think it's a great idea. I'm really excited to see this. Of course, we'll probably see it at CES. I'll try and check it out before then, but they're expecting to have it around $100. About $129. But it's great protection. Let's say I leave the house and I'm at an evening event or something like that, and all of a sudden I get a notice on my phone that there's something going on. There's carbon monoxide in my house, or it detects smoke. I could turn on a webcam and say, oh, hey, something's smoking in there. I got to get home, and maybe I'll be able to stop it before an actual fire happens. And I think that's the best part. Or the smoke alarm's going off, and I'm somewhere, and maybe Jennifer's asleep in the bedroom. I call her up and say, hey, I'm getting an alarm here through the Nest. And she wakes up and she goes, oh wow, there's smoke in this house, and figures out what it is, or gets out of the house and protects herself. See, that's how that works, and I like this a lot. So if you want to read more on this, go over to cnet.com. That's where we've got the link. Of course, all the links, once again, will be in the show notes. Just go over to geekazine.com and you'll find it right there. Well, a couple weeks ago, Apple came out with the gold iPhone. And some people go, well, it's not really gold. It's just, And then since then, somebody actually put out a sticker thing so you could actually turn your iPhone into a gold iPhone. But HTC decided to do something different. They decided to do an actual gold iPhone. Now, there's no picture on it here, but apparently they made a gold-plated iPhone, and it's basically a promotional exercise for the forthcoming MOBO Awards. And so I guess you'll be able to, I don't know if you're going to win a gold HTC phone or whatnot, but of course it's going to be gold-plated. I don't know what carat gold it's going to be. Is that usually 14 karat gold? They say it's going to look good, and it's going to be, let's see, there's no price on it, but they talk about other fashionable phones that they created, like a razor that was inlaid with sparkles, with diamond sparkles, and retailing at $5,000. That was back in 2005. So a gold-plated iPhone. Now, if you do get a gold-plated iPhone, there's one small problem with with anything that's gold. And that is when you touch it, the oils from your hands start to eat away at the gold. So you can't really hold the iPhone in your hand unless you've got a case around it. And hopefully they'll have a protective case around the gold. Otherwise, you're just going to basically eat away all the gold. So if you want to read more on that, go over to cnet.com. Of course, once again, go to the link in the show notes. What do you think? Would you buy yourself a gold iPhone, a gold-plated iPhone, or a gold-plated HTC phone, or any phone for that matter? Let me know. Twitter me over Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, Instagram is starting to allow ads into photo feeds. You might have heard about this a little bit. So basically what happens is as you're going through your photo feed, there'll be one post that will actually be an ad. No word as to whether they're going to use third-party privacy issues, and you take a picture of a bottle of ketchup, and then all of a sudden Heinz wants that because it's a Heinz bottle, and they say they want that for their ad, and next thing you know, your Instagram photo is an ad across multiple thousands of phones. I don't know. It's kind of cool. And if they give you credit, if they give credit back to you, which then creates followers, would you do it? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. But I would definitely start taking pictures if it credited me and said this picture was taken by Geekazine or Jeffrey Powers. You can find him at Geekazine. And then all of a sudden I get like thousands of followers because I took a picture for an ad. Something for Instagram to think about if they're trying to really put this all together. But you can go over to Reuters.com or the link to the show notes, and that will get you there as well. All right, let me load up a couple more articles here. And we're going to start over at Apple Insider, or go over to Apple Insider, where we've already started this show. Jeffries has changed the tune on apples. You're going, what? What? Jeffrey? That's me. And I like apples. Apples are good. No, actually, Jeffries is an investment firm, and they basically said it's time to buy Apple stock. And I think it's because of this upcoming iWatch. And they say that it's worth, it's now got a target price of $600. Now, about 8 months ago to a year ago, Apple was getting up to $700 a share. So now with everything coming out, the new iPads are going to be coming out sometime in the next month or so. I'm really hoping with the A7 chipset. And if they debut an iWatch and an iPad, and of course refresh their Mac lines, then I think that they could definitely be a $600 a share company. So pretty interesting. Now, of course, I've added something to Geek Smack, and that is the actual stock numbers. I'll show it right here. As you can see, Microsoft is at $32 a share, Apple $481, and Google and IBM and Facebook. That'll change during the day. So if you want to get some stock information, you can go over to the page and subscribe, and then of course you'll see stock prices at that time. So anyway, if you want to read more on that, go over to appleinsider.com. And especially if you're big in doing stocks, and might be time to get some investment into Apple. If it gets up to $600 and you spend $481 a share, 100 shares, that's still $120 right there of positiveness, of plusness, or more money for you. So check that all out there. And of course, it's probably going to start to raise now that they've got that's coming out. And once the products come out, and then it'll lower a little bit, and then it'll raise a little bit, and go from there. So anyway, let's move on from there. We're going to go over to PCMag.com. This is actually very interesting. 40% of global users are on the internet, which means 60% globally are not. And it's not that they haven't used or they don't use the internet. It's just that they don't have it. They don't have a mobile phone. They don't have an internet connection at home. But they're saying that it's about 4.4 billion people that are unconnected in some way, shape, or form. Now, this could even mean that just per household, as opposed to there's a church in the middle of the town square or something like that, and you can go there and play on a computer and actually have internet access to look up things. But there's a lot of places in the world that there is no internet access, and which is why we had things like one laptop per child a few years ago, really trying to do this and get all these devices out to people in these countries. I heard of a story that I'm going to talk about I'm working on a podcast book. In the podcast book, I'm talking about this story about one person who actually has a very limited window to upload anything, and they upload podcasts because of the fact that the position of the satellite and the fact that businesses haven't started for the day. Once businesses get on this internet connection, apparently it goes from what they call super fast to very, very slow and almost impossible to use. So it's interesting to see, what we take for granted. I mean, I've got a really nice internet connection at 30 megabytes down, 5 megabytes upload. I can do something like this and not have major stalls, freezes, or crashes or anything like that. And you can get my live show. But some people in third world countries can't even watch the YouTube show. And if they do, it's probably going to be at 144p, which is very blurry and very small if you want a good clear version. So very interesting stuff. If you want to read more on this, pcmag.com is where you go for that. All right, AT&T is selling Phil IP. It's a kid's smart watch. And it's actually pretty cool. Basically, the watch, the kids wear it, and it's got GPS in there so the parents can find out where the kids are. It's got a way to communicate back and forth, so dad can call the kid and stuff like that. And of course, the kid can do the Dick Tracy thing and yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So there's a patent pending on the GPS, Wi-Fi, cellular technology, but it's just a basic, simple phone on a wrist. And I like this because I don't have kids, but if I did have any kids, they would probably not get a phone until they get into high school, probably 16. I don't see them needing a phone before then, but I'd like to communicate with them, so a watch like that would be perfect. And of course, this type of watch, unfortunately, with that design right there, I think that design actually, pretty much, you're talking like kindergarten through maybe 5th grade or something like that. Once you get to middle school, that watch is going to look very dorky. And high school, you definitely don't want to wear a watch like that in high school. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the trend's going this way, and maybe the high school kids just love that type of watch. But if I had that watch if I was in high school, I probably wouldn't wear it. Well, no, I was kind of dorky back then, so I would have worn it. But really cool stuff. If you want to check that out, go over to eweek.com. Once again, we'll have the link in the show notes. Would you buy your kids a watch if you could communicate with them and you could find out where they are? Let me know. And you don't need like an iPhone or anything like that. Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. All right, last of the first part here. Town of Nokia. There's actually a town called Nokia in Finland. Well, some pranksters decided, well, what would happen if we took down the Nokia sign? And, it got acquired by Microsoft. So that's what they did. They took down the Nokia sign, they put up a Microsoft sign. So now it's not Nokia Finland anymore, it's called Microsoft Finland. It was a prank, and it wasn't a sanctioned prank or anything like that. So some of the road signs got Microsoft on there. Of course, Nokia got acquired by Microsoft. So that's where the joke comes in on the whole thing. Nokia Finland has a population of 3,200 and was the original birthplace of Nokia, the company that's, of course, no longer has operations there, but they're kind of proud on that. So what do you think? Should there be a Microsoft Finland, or should it stay Nokia Finland? Let me know. You can Twitter me once again over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com, and then, of course, the hotline at 608-205-4378. All right, that does it for this part, the first part of Geek Smack, the Tech Smack of Geek Smack. Now we're going to get in the Geek Smack of Geek Smack. Of course, we will be doing that right after this. You are watching, and then, of course, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about Twitter and IPOs. And is this a good idea? Why is this a good idea? And will Twitter actually fall into the same problems that Facebook did when they put out their IPO? And we're going to do that right after Geek Smack. Just stay tuned, and we'll be right back. All right, and so Geek Smack is brought to you by my other website, Day in Tech History, over at www.dayintechhistory.com, where you can go there and find out what happened in this day in tech history. Of course, it's Tuesday, the 8th of October, and on the 8th of October, I think it was Apple versus Apple that was settled. So basically what happened was Apple as a computer company and Apple as a music company that's actually started by the Beatles. They had this big to-do back and forth for many, many years, and finally it got resolved in 1991, and that kind of started the whole, I don't know if it started the whole thing with Apple getting, basically they said Apple the music company said, okay, Apple the computer store, as long as you don't get into music, we're all good. And then that's what happened. On October 9th, Hayes Microcomputer files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. On October 10th, Pac-Man was released in North America. On the 11th, VisiCalc was the first killer app. And then, of course, on October 12th, Steve Jobs debuted the next computer. And a whole bunch more. You can check that over at www.dayintechhistory. Let me show you the website really quick over at Day in Tech History. That's where the Apple versus Apple got settled. And so much more. You can find all that cool stuff over there. Hey, check out the overhead once again. Like I said, I got the Wirecast machine. We've got the presentation computer, and then of course my iPad right here, and a couple phones here just in case I get a phone call. Got to be connected. That's how that works. So, all right, let's get back into your Geek Smack. First, let's get into the Geekedia of the week. This week's Geekedia is over at B&H. Nikon is coming out with their D610 DSLR camera. It's not out just yet, but it's very exciting. I'm starting to think how I'm going to get into DSLRs. I do a lot of point and shoot cameras. The one thing that I really want to do with a DSLR is start using video and start using slower motion video, being able to do 120 frames a second. 240 frames a second for some stuff. I think that will kind of push me into a new category of doing video, and I'm really excited about that. So the Nikon D610, I don't know if that'll have the ability to do it. It does have a 24.3 megapixel CMOS sensor. It's got 3-image processor, which is another thing that I like. It's got continuous shooting up to 6 frames per second. It's got the WU1B wireless mobile adapter, external mic, full 1080p video recording at 30 frames a second, which is not as good as my point and shoot cameras or my handy cams, but it does a lot of cool stuff, and of course with some of the lenses I can get, I can do a lot more. Now this is in pre-order. You can't get it yet, but go over to B&H. There's a lot of cool stuff over at B&H, especially if you're a podcaster or a video podcaster or something like that. Get this stuff, get on, go on with your life. Of course, go over to Geekazine to the link, and that'll take you to this pre-order. You can pre-order for $1,999. This is $1,996.95. It is the body only. Of course, they also have some with lenses and stuff like that. You can get those. But with the body only, just under $2,000. Check that out over at B&H. All right, let's move into Geek Smack news here. Eric Schmidt, this is over on The Verge. Eric Schmidt has called Android more secure than the iPhone, and I'm having a hard time believing this. He was at a symposium, the Gartner Symposium. And apparently somebody asked the question, well, what about the performance and the secure platform on Android? And Schmidt turned around and he said, not secure. It's more secure than the iPhone. Now, a lot of people laughed. Schmidt apparently was basically said, hey, our billion plus device activations and stringent security testing show that we're actually very serious about security. And now I have this Android phone right here, and nobody's ever hacked into it. I don't know, but I don't have any problems with malware. Of course, I don't go to sites and I don't go to applications that I don't trust. So, is it more secure than an iPhone? I had an iPhone, up until my last iPhone got stolen. I've had an iPhone for years and never had security issues. Of course, the newer iPhones with the whole fingerprint ring, and then of course getting hacked, and then of course those people that jailbreak the phones and stuff like that. My biggest problem with Android phones is there's a lot of Android phones that aren't on the current version, the 4.3, I think it is right now, or is KitKat out, I believe. But anyway, they're still on an earlier version. Maybe they're on 4.0, but most likely they're not. And they might have updates for them, but people don't want to update their phones sometimes. Same thing with iPhone. They don't want to update the phone. There's a lot of people still sitting on iOS 6.1.3. Just is what it is. So I don't know. It's pretty interesting. What do you think? Do you think that Android is secure? Do you have information to prove that Android is more secure than iPhone? I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people that are going to test those theories out in the next couple days, and a few articles that come out from there. So if you want to read more on this, go over to The Verge. But Eric Schmidt, a lot of people were laughing at that, which I don't know. Either Eric Schmidt is out of touch with his own products or his own company or it's actually more secure than an iPhone. Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. What do you think? Geekazine@gmail.com. And of course, 608-205-4378. I remember a couple years ago, I got to see bendable OLED technology. Really cool. We've seen it since then, and of course, there's been a couple applications to it. But now we're looking at bendable smartphones. LG is coming out with the first set of smartphones that have a bendable screen. It'll be the screen that's bendable. It's not the actual phone. There might be a little bit of flexibility to it, but it's more about the screen being flexible. And a more flexible screen means if you drop the phone, it has less chance of shattering. So it's their first flexible OLED panel for smartphones. They're hoping that the products will be coming out very soon. LG's chief technology officer, Dr. Sang Yang, said in a statement that he expects the technology to grow quickly and is expected to expand further into diverse applications, including automotive displays or tablets and other wearable devices. So, that makes sense. I mean, imagine a watch that is actually just one big screen wrapped around your wrist. That would be cool. That would be really cool. So if you want to read more on this, we got this link over at abc.go.com. You can check that there. Once again, go to the show notes. You'll see the link. You'll click on it and go from there. And, of course, subscribe via the Google group, and you can get them right in your email every single week. Moving on, we're over at TechCrunch, and Android, I guess, is coming out with Hangouts 1.3. It's going to add SMS. Of course, this is rumor right now, so whether it happens or not, we'll see what happens. But Hangouts 1.3 is going to add SMS, and so might just see iMessaging happening into Google Hangouts. And that's something that people that are in Google Hangouts really wanted to see. So I'm really happy to see that, and it might just add to the Hangout experience. Now, last week we did This Week in Google Glass using the Q&A section of Hangouts. Great concept. The end result, I wasn't too happy with the quality of the video, so I'm kind of staying away from it. We are going to try a Q&A section this coming Monday because we're going to have a guest on the show, and it just makes more sense to do it that way instead of bringing in two lines and go from there. But we're going to have Kathy Brown on. She's going to talk about the healthcare and glass in healthcare, which is really cool. So it'll be really cool to actually see and have the ability to talk with people back and forth. And the Q&A is just basically a chat room. So you can go in there and chat away. So Hangouts 1.3, we've got some updates coming on. If you want to read more on that, go over to TechCrunch.com. Back over at PCMag.com, the White House has declined to overturn Samsung gadget ban. Of course, that whole Apple versus Samsung thing has gone weeks and weeks and months and months. And of course, there was a decision that basically said that there are some patents that Samsung had implied or stepped on, and we're just going to ban those things. So, U.S. Trade Representative Michael Froman denied Samsung's request to overturn the ITC's decision. He said, after carefully weighing policy considerations, including the impact on consumers, advice from agencies, and information from interested parties, I have decided to allow the ban. So that's a strike against Samsung. So we might not see, even though Samsung has just been kind of hitting it out of the park, they're kind of got to step back for a second. So if you want to read more on that, go over to PCMag.com. Very interesting article right there. All right, Yahoo got, well, first of all, happy birthday to Yahoo. 16 years ago, back in 1997, of course I talk about that on the Day in Tech History. 1997, Yahoo Mail was actually Rocket Mail at first, and it got acquired by Yahoo, and they turned it into Yahoo Mail. Well, today they got a good update, and I just downloaded and updated my iPad here. Let me show you really quick. So I go to my iPad, and I'll just go over to the Yahoo. I chose the puppy for my picture, and of course I got my start. I can go to my inbox like that. Looks very cool on the iPad, and of course Android got an update as well. You can do your Yahoo screen. I don't know what that is. I guess those are extra apps that you can get for Yahoo, which I won't download and update. But of course, if you've got mail, I have an email address on every single free email service: Yahoo, Microsoft, Google, and the others. So and I do that so if somebody says, hey, this isn't happening, I can check it out and test it out and see what's wrong. And of course, I actually have had a Yahoo email before I've had a Gmail account, because Yahoo's been around for 16 years. I had a Hotmail account because I worked for Microsoft back in 95 as a contract employee, technically. The whole company we worked with was contracted to do the support for 95. So that's why I have all those email accounts. But once again, if I need to test something, boom, I got it right there. So congratulations to Yahoo. They really did a good job. The only problem I have with Yahoo Mail, they don't have great spam filters. It always seems that there's junk after junk after junk, and I say, hey, this email is spam, and then next week the email shows up, and it shows up right in my inbox, not in the spam filter. So I don't like their spam filters. Maybe they've changed them. We'll have to see. But right now, I'm not a big fan of Yahoo Mail. But they've got a lot of different things. You can check that all out over at Wired.com. All right, last article, I believe, or do we have any more? Nope, last article of the second part, and then of course we're going to talk about Twitter and their IPO. A new $100 bill was christened this today. Came out, I believe, on Monday. The new $100 bill has some interesting security features, 3D security ribbon. There's a bell in the inkwell that you tilt it, and it'll actually do some color shifting. Of course, if you put it up against the light, you'll see all the other cool features. And that is over on CNET if you want to look more at the $100 bill, or just go to your bank and say, hey, I want one of the new $100 bills, and then show it off there. That does it for the Geek Smack section of Geek Smack. Let's get going. We're going to talk about what's happening over at Twitter, going for the IPO, and are they just going to see the same thing that Facebook saw when they went for their IPO, or are they going to kill it? And we're going to talk about that next. You're watching Geek Smack on Geekazine.com, where we smack the geek out of you. We'll be right back. It's more than just 750 channels that the Roku can offer that gives you all that content. Each channel can have sub-channels in it, so you can have tens of thousands of hours of video watching and game playing out of your Roku. And prices only start at $49.99. Of course, the Roku 3 for $99.99, and of course you can get the games, you get the game remote as well, and then the privacy mode where you can plug in your headphones right in the remote. That's perfect for when your partner is sleeping, but you want to watch something on TV. Lots of great stuff, from Angry Birds to Amazon to Hulu, and of course the Tech Podcast channel. Let me show you this really quick. This is how you get to some of the content from Geekazine on the Tech Podcast channel. You just go into the Tech Podcast video, and you're going to go into Tech News, and you're going to find like the special events, iPad 365, Geek Smack, and a whole bunch more. A lot of other tech podcast shows right on that Roku for you, right at your fingertips, right through the remote. And then, of course, you can get your Netflix, you can get your Amazon, you can get your Hulu just as easy, and many more channels. PBS, we've got Redbox Instant, TV Guide, Sci-Fi Channel, and much more. Check it out. It's all over at Roku. Remember, geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps me keep the lights on for all my shows. Thank you very much. And go over where streaming is made simple. There's my overhead shot once again. You may be wondering if Twitter is still valid in this day and age of social networking. Now, Business Insider has reported that in the United States, only 49 million people are on the service, as opposed to 128 million that are on Facebook, with about 215 million monthly active users overall on Twitter. Yet Twitter is looking for an IPO of about $1 billion, and they're expected to get it, because even experts are saying that they're valuing it more towards the line of $15 to $20 billion. So the question is Twitter worth it? Further, will Twitter do the same thing that Facebook did on their IPO debut and fall flat at the start? Let's look at what Twitter has done for social networking. Twitter started in 2006 with a simple 140-character, "What are you doing?" Twitter is simple, and its API can easily be integrated into a website, making Twitter a great single login when you join a new service, especially with mobile applications. Twitter brought many ideas to the table. If it wasn't for Twitter, a hashtag might not have been on Google or Facebook, or even a search term. Embeddable posts started on Twitter 2 years before anything else. Twitter has two main patents to their system. One's called the User Interface Mechanics, or Scrollable List of Contents, and Device-Independent Message Distribution Platform, sending or receiving short messages. They also have patents from companies that they've acquired like TweetDeck, Bluefin, and Dascient. They have a patent in waiting called Device Independent Message Distribution Platform, and I'm guessing there's going to be a few more that are coming out very soon. Now, it's not as robust of a library as Google has or Facebook's patent library, which some say could actually hurt Twitter because they don't have that many patents. We saw a couple of years back, Twitter was sued by TechRadium for an emergency alert system patent. Since then, they've settled that, and Twitter's actually moved forward in becoming just that. With backings from FEMA and Red Cross, their system was turned on only a few days ago, and it was already tested by with the DC shooting that happened last week. Now, it's simple. When Osama bin Laden got killed, people watched Twitter feeds before anything. In fact, that's where they most likely found out that Osama was killed. When Michael Jackson died, Twitter was the first to be swamped and overloaded with comments. An easy-to-use social network that gets the word across very fast. That's what Twitter has over Facebook and Google. That and less annoying photos about how 95% of the public cannot solve some math equation. What do you think? Do you think that that Twitter, $1 billion, would you buy a Twitter stock? I have one share of Facebook stock right up there. You can't see it. But I'm thinking of getting one share of Twitter stock too. We'll see what happens. If it turns out, right now Facebook's at about $50 a share. So Twitter could do that, $30 for that one share. I'd be happy to do that and then see what happens from there. My 1 share could become 2 shares very easily. My 2 shares could become 4, then 4 become 8, 8 becomes 16. That's a lot of stock splits, but just in case it happens. So let me know. What do you think? Will you buy some Twitter stock? Let me know by tweeting me over at Geekazine. Yeah, tweet me at Geekazine to buy some Twitter stock. And then, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. The hotline, of course, 608-205-4378. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for this episode of Geek Smack, episode number 278. I hope you got a lot of information. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to comment and Twitter me over at Geekazine. Until next time, we will see you. It will be another episode of Geek Smack. We will be here 2 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/Geekazine if you want to watch it live. Otherwise, we'll have it up later on in the day, and you can put it into your catcher, audio version, Stitcher, and iTunes, and of course the video version. You can catch it on YouTube or over at geekazine.com. And until then, you guys geek out and take care. All right, and that does it for this episode of Geek Smack. Thank you guys very much for coming to the show, being a part of the show. Feel free to comment and talk about what you do, what you like, what you don't like, and we'll go from there. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We will see you next time on next week. Same bat time, same geek time, same geek channel over at youtube.com/Geekazine. You guys take care. Just watch my Google Plus feed and my other feeds when it gets ready. Go over to geekazine.com. It'll just show up right on top. So you guys take care. We'll see you then.